Hello, Mr. Aiden. Oh, I can't hear you yet.
He'll be here in a second.
All right. Mr. Bobby, how have you been? I was worried about you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Hi, James.
How have you been?
Good.
Good. I'm glad to hear your voice.
That's great. I miss you so much.
Well, we're glad you came. You picked a great day. We have a Paralympian coming to talk to us.
Good.
It'll be a fun time.
Good. I miss you so much.
Well, we're glad to have you back. Hi, Miss Hill. How are you, ma'am?
Good. How are you?
Good. You picked a great day to come back. We have a
That's
Paralympian coming to join
good.
us tonight.
I'm happy.
Hey. Hey, Dooley, you're muted. Just so you know. We're still getting ready, though. We still got people joining. How you doing, Sophia?
I'm good. How are you?
Miss you
Good.
so much.
All right, Sophia, if that's you, then who's our other iPhone?
Good. I miss you so
I don't
much.
know who it is. I'll change my name.
Oh,
The iPhone, the other one just left. I will rename myself so they
that's
know
fine.
who I am. I don't know why it makes me rename myself, but I'm going to do it just for this.
All right, thank you so much. I don't know who the other iPhone person is. Hey, Will, how are you?
Oh, I will.
Hey. There's Miss Paula. There's Mr. Will. Let me see if I can.
Hey, Paul.
Let me see. We have Mr. Aiden, Mr. Dooley, Mr. Here's Champions Place.
Where Josh?
He's coming. I think he's joining with Champions Place this evening, but I could be wrong.
Hey James, who are the coaches for this Saturday's
Oh hey,
stuff?
oh hey, Philip. I don't know who it is, but I'll find out for you and I'll let you know. Okay?
Oh, hi, Scott.
Yeah, Scott is the Paralympian, although he's muted and we can't hear him. Hey, Matt Thompson, how are you all doing at Champions Place? Good. Hey, Scott.
Hello.
I'm glad the weather got a little better for you, Scott.
Me too. Me too.
We have a big crowd this evening. Let's see.
Yeah, good. I miss you so much.
We're happy to have you here for this one, Bobby.
Yeah.
My goodness, this might be the biggest crowd we've had in a second. You're a popular guy, Scott.
I don't know. I think it was all of your marketing skills.
Oh, I wish. Hey, Athena. Hey, Nick.
Hey,
Hi, James.
How's the weather in New York?
Cloudy.
It was really rainy this morning here in Georgia.
Yeah, we got that yesterday evening. That was not good. But then it stopped.
Normally, we would wait 5 minutes to start because people are slow. But out of respect for Mr. Hollonbeck's time, we will go ahead and get started. Scott, do you want to introduce yourself, or should I introduce you? How do you want to do that?
I
Sid?
want you to do that. I'm gonna get my water while you start.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, I have the distinction and the privilege of introducing Mr. Scott Hollonbeck. He is just not just an incredible athlete, but an awesome person who has done a lot for to advance the access and privileges for disabled people in his career. He is a 5-time medalist, I believe a 3-time gold medalist and a 2-time silver medalist of the Paralympics. And he specializes, correct me if I'm wrong, in wheelchair racing. And he's just done a lot in his career, and I'll let him speak more to that. Go ahead, Mr. Scott.
Okay. James, 1 second. I'm gonna pull our
Yes.
question up as I recall. Here we go.
Oh, here we still have people joining.
Yeah, we got.
My goodness. We also have friends joining us from the Innovation Academy, such as Mr. The Innovation Academy was a initiative very near and dear to one of the residents' hearts. His name was Garrett Couch, and we have Mr. Jonas Freck joining us from the Innovation Academy. So,
Hi, everyone.
Wonderful.
and we have, my goodness, this might be our strongest turnout in a while. But do you need me to pull them up, Scott, or do you have them?
I do. I'm just having a slight technical difficulty, but bear with me.
Can I help you? What is the difficulty?
Well, I'm just going to our. There it is. I got it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I want to thank you all for having me come. I have been to Champions Place and have a number of friends that reside there, and I think it's wonderful. And I really like this concept of us all getting on a call on Zoom and sharing an hour together. So, James and I had spoken, and we thought we'd take you back to the beginning, how I got interested in sport. And then we'll talk a little bit about challenges and barriers that we experience that I experienced. I think a lot of athletes did, and then a little bit about the Paralympic Games, and then I'll talk a little bit about life after sport and career and balancing aspect of life, and then we'll open it up to you guys for some questions. So that's what we're up to. So yeah, so I had an accident when I was 14 years old, and I got paralyzed. Is the sound okay, James?
Yes, it should be fine.
Great. And I am an identical twin, so I got to lay the groundwork here. And at that point, you know, I was, had the opportunity to participate in a number of sports, and this is back in 1984, so some of you weren't even alive at that point.
Including me.
And have things like ASP, and they did have basically wheelchair basketball, a little bit of swimming, and archery, a few things like that. But the world of sports opportunities for people with disabilities was much smaller back in the 1980s. And so after I first got hurt, I really didn't do anything for about 8 months. I had back surgery. So I had one of those clamshells. I don't know if you guys, I got Harrington rods, and they were like, don't do anything for a year. I think, the medical model has changed. I'm sure many of you've had injuries or possibly surgeries, and they pretty much get you up and going again. Back in the day, it was sort of don't do much and don't hurt yourself. So my swim coach was really instrumental. I kind of wanted to get back into some sports and recreation, but I just didn't know what to do. And my swim coach in our little town, I grew up in a town of about 8,000 people in northern Illinois, west of Chicago. And she just kind of stayed on me. And I just kind of kept making up excuses about why I wouldn't be able to do it. I was like, well, my legs, they sink, and I don't really think I could do it. And she goes, oh, I thought about that. And she took a knee brace because she had knee injuries. She cut it in half, and then she stitched it to a pool buoy that other, some people use to hold between their legs to sort of help their hips float. And so I was like, that's really creative work. Thank you. And then she kind of got it on me, and she was right. I sort of floated more than my legs weren't just dragging straight behind me. And then this pool that we swam at was actually uh, a hotel that was in town, because there wasn't a YMCA or a high school pool or anything. And it was just a short 20-yard pool. But the problem was that the locker rooms where you would get dressed were down a flight of stairs. And I'm like, well, this is great. Diane was her name. It's great, Diane, but there's no place for me to get changed, and so I was my own problem. I kept making up excuses about why I couldn't do it. She goes, yeah, I thought about that. Well, they have this little closet where they keep all the pool chemicals and the filter for the pool. And I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, I thought you could get changed in there. And I was like, okay, well, this hotel had used tons of chlorine, so you definitely want to take a shower because it would burn your skin. I go, well, what about the chlorine in the pool? She goes, yeah, I thought about that, Scott. I'm just going to go get 2 5-gallon buckets of water from downstairs at the shower, and I'll just dump it on you on the side of the pool. I was like, I ran out of excuses. I got on the swim team again, and I was the slowest person, and I didn't care because it was just great to get up and be in the water. And every week or so I'd get just a little bit faster, a little bit faster, and that really helped me with my self-confidence at the time. And then from there I was on the I was on the track team as a manager. um and I'd tape people's ankles up and get water and drinks for folks. And I just started, after the team got going, I just started pushing around the track in my everyday wheelchair. And I did that for a year. And then my grandfather said, hey, I've heard about this wheelchair racing thing. And I checked that out. And then he had found, this is way before the internet, you guys have to keep this in mind. He found a guy that was about my size that was selling a racing chair in California. And he got it for $300. And I got my first, that's when I first got a racing chair. And I was super slow. I was not fast. But I started going to summer, camps at the University of Illinois, and I started just kind of watching and reading everything I could get my hands on. And I started to get better. And so I was on the track team there for a few years, going to camps and working with the coach at the University of Illinois. And in 1988, so 4 years after my accident, was the Olympic trial for the 1988 games in Seoul, Korea. And it happened to be in Illinois. And I had gone to junior nationals. I don't know if some of you have ever did any of the junior sports, but all the fast kids were there, and they usually beat me. By my senior year in high school, I was getting a little bit better. But I went to that race, and it's the 1500 meter is basically 4 laps. And I almost got lapped by the group I was with. They caught me, and I was basically lower than the qualifying time for an event. It was pretty humbling. But I thought to myself, well, it's 4 more years if I want to go for that. And if I'm, basically training 6 days a week, and I broke it down, I was like, well, that means I'd have to go 15 seconds faster a year. Okay, sounds like a lot. Then I broke that into months. I'm like, well, that's like just under or just over a second a month. And then I broke that down, and we could do, it's like I had to go like 1/100th faster
Scott,
to go from. I'm breaking up.
you're breaking up, Scott.
Okay, hold on a minute.
You are a little staticky, Scott.
Staticky. All right. All right. Well, does it help if I speak slower?
It cleared up just now. I don't know why, but like all the yeah.
I closed
Yeah.
apps, or a couple of the browser windows. Okay, so yeah, so that was kind of it. I did just give 1/100th%, little more effort, and 4 years later, qualified and went to my first games in Barcelona, which was awesome. And in between there, I had wanted to get on. I was on the track team, and they were fine with it. But then once I got a racing chair and I started getting faster, the school decided. Because my parents first they didn't want me to go to school there because it was inaccessible. They wanted me to go to a town about 30 minutes away. My parents are like, no, I've got a sister who's a year older, my brother, kids I grew up with. And so they were not happy about that. And the second year I wanted to take, I think it was biology, because the school had 18 different levels, and between each level were stairs. It was over 100 years old, and they just kept adding, you know how that is, right? Oh, we'll just go up here and down there. And so for me to stay there, for instance, there's some funny stuff. I had to go through the girls' locker room to get to the men's locker room, because the girls' locker room was on the main level. And I'm sure you guys have experienced some of this over the years, and then everything was a little harder. And then as a freshman year, it was okay because all the classes were on that first level, but the school wasn't happy because they had to remove a couple classes. And then we asked if they'd put a lift in. And at that point, the principal and superintendent kind of got upset with my dad asking for things, and they sort of pushed hard. And the first thing they took away was they said that I was a danger to everybody else on the track, so I couldn't be out there, even practicing. At this point, keep in mind, I'd been doing it for 2 years and and there weren't any issues. And basically, we got into the situation where they kicked me off the track team. And so we went to the state of Illinois, went through the school system, and then we had to take the school and the Illinois High School Sports Association to court, went to federal court. It didn't get decided until after I left, but the judge gave an injunction. So that was, to the best of our knowledge, the first time a family in the United States had basically sued for a student with disabilities to have the right to participate in extracurricular activities, not just sports, but like theater. So for instance, I did want to do theater, but all that was way up on that third floor, and it was like, forget it. So that was my first experience with you know serious experience with I guess what you would say lack of access and some discriminatory behavior. um Obviously back in the 80s, a lot of buildings weren't accessible, and that sort of thing.
How was the actual, like, the competition and being an athlete? How was that? How was actually navigating the events at the Paralympics?
It was wild. That first time we were in Barcelona, Spain, and I wasn't really super. I didn't know a ton. That was my first games, and there weren't a lot of videos and things back in the day, and so there was one event in the Olympics that they did for 5 games. and that was a 1,500 meter on the track for men and 800 for women. And so I had gone to Spain because I qualified for the Olympics. So that was wild. We were down in New Orleans, all these top guys that, I'd been chasing at that point for 6 years and usually getting beat, but I just stuck with it. And we got down there and it was the US Olympic track and field trials, and there's television coverage and thousands of fans. It was at Louisiana State, LSU, and it was pretty intense, but I made it through that because you have to advance, you qualify and you go, and then went to the Olympic event, and really I thought that was going to be sort of the pinnacle of that summer. But a month later, they had the Paralympics, so went home.
You're a little choppy again, Scott.
Screaming.
You're a little choppy again, Scott.
Just with the. I've got full charge.
You're good now. You're good
Okay.
now. You were just choppy for a second.
Yeah. So when I came back for the Paralympics, we actually raced to more people in the Paralympics than we're at the stadium in the Olympics. It was wild. It was packed, and people couldn't get in. And so when you go and you have to advance through 3 rounds, and I was fortunate to do that, and things are really coming together. But I remember very vividly being underneath. You're sort of, the stadium's up here and you have to go up a ramp, so you're under where everyone's sitting. And when the people would cheer, the dust would fall from the ceiling. It was sort of like the movie Gladiator when they were down before they went out into the arena and fought. And so the whole walls are shaking, and you're in this dark tunnel, and then you come up and it's bright, and you're on this, and there's the king and queen of Spain, and the world's watching, and it was epic. And I've had very good games in Barcelona. So it was phenomenal. I ended up 5th in the Olympic event. And then in the Paralympic event, I took the gold in the 800 and missed the silver, or was silver in the 15 by like this much, which was unfortunate. But it's a lot of I'm not sure. Wheelchair racing is like bike racing, so there's a lot of drafting, and we're racing really close together, and kind of intense. There was a big crash in '92 in the 5,000, and the top 12 racers all crashed. 3 of them had to go to the hospital, and the guy that was in last place, the 13th place guy, got around him and won the event. So it's a wild sport. So yeah, so that was 92. And then the big games for me, the ones that I loved, were 96. Anybody who went to the Paralympics in 96? I'm gonna see. James, you didn't go?
I was technically in Georgia, but I think Coach Rick and Miss Nancy went.
Okay.
I think I saw them raise their hand.
We
Matt
did
went.
go, and Matt carried the torch, Scott.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Par, did you go?
I think she's saying her mom did. Did your parents go, Pa? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
My parents also went. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was a really special time in Atlanta. I had moved to Atlanta and took a job with Coca-Cola in their worldwide sports marketing department. Is it Par? Is your mom? Did she work at Coca-Cola?
No, that's Noelle. I don't know where Miss Noelle is.
Oh, okay. So it was great. I also got to carry the torch into the stadium at the games and work with the Atlanta Paralympic Organizing Committee and a lot of the sponsors, and it was pretty wild.
Hey, Scott, what was your most intense race?
Oh,
Like, is there one that just you remember more than anything else?
yeah, the 96. So again, they had one event in the Olympics and then the Paralympics, and the Olympic was first, and I I made it there. I'd actually traded the world record with an athlete from France. Um, and that one really stands out because it's where I was living. All my family came down. You know, you're an American citizen. You want to do that whole thing, and I was a lot of emotions around that, and I was in good shape. And we went out on the track, and literally the sun had been out, and then remember back in the day, for those of us that are over 50, it would like rain regularly in the summer in Atlanta. You get these
Yeah.
like little showers and it would go away. So we're going out, and next thing you know, we line up, and the guy says, "To your mark, set," right before he fires the gun.
Here and he's great.
Yeah, it was pouring rain, just pouring. So I went to the front of the race because when it's raining, you get these rooster tails of water, and you can't see, and it's dangerous, and you can get stuck in the pack. And so my plan my plan had been to come around at about 600 meters to the finish, but I just went door to door, and it was working pretty well. And then on that last turn, the last 100, guy from France came up. I could see him coming, and I was slipping a little bit with my right glove. He beat me by like that. That was
Oh,
that was um
well, we were
I
rooting
think
for
yeah,
you.
I think my favorite race ever was the marathon in Barcelona in 92. And that was the first time I had stayed with the marathon guys, and was competitive, and four of us broke away. There was a Frenchman, a Swiss guy who had the fastest time in the world, Heinz Fry, phenomenal athlete, and then a gentleman by the name of Krigesh Gabor, a South African, and we duked it out for 26 miles, and nobody could get away. Nobody, and we were racing, and there were 1 million spectators on that course, and you're just racing through these tiny narrow streets, and people are hanging out of their windows
Oh my
in their
gosh.
apartments, and that was pretty awesome. Yeah, and yeah, that I had never experienced anything like that. And it's a longer event, so you can make a few more mistakes. Like in an 800 or 1500, you get maybe one mistake in the 800. Like if
You're choppy again,
um
Scott. Give it a second.
okay.
You're good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, so there were a couple races that I remember where things didn't go well. I broke both my arms, radius and ulna, in 1993. That was upset. And then had a couple crashes. But all in all, I absolutely loved it. It was great. I got to see the world, met some phenomenal friends and people, and yeah, it allowed me to share a message about disability on a broader platform, and I enjoy competing. I don't care if it's checkers or a marathon. Like, let's play. So um yeah. Any other sport questions? Uh I guess I did get into triathloning after I stopped racing wheelchairs, and that was wild. And it took about 6 years again to get competitive at it, and I stuck with that. And
So tell us about the swimming.
yeah,
Just
the swim, the swim, like that's why I thought about triathloning, but I had never done open water swimming, and I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of scared of sharks. It's true.
Yeah.
And but a couple of my buddies started doing it, and yeah, and I again just talked with people and asked a lot of questions and found some like figured out how I was gonna float in open rough water. And so we made these leg braces from PVC pipes, the kind that you would have in your yard, and we heated them up in the oven, and then you'd put like uh like lycra pants on, and then had damp cold water on them, and then you put this warm thing on and custom make your own brace. And once that happened, that really helped with the swimming. But I had a swim coach. I was taking swim lessons in my 40s because like that's what you have to do, and it helped tremendously. But yeah, those are 10-hour, 11, 12, 13-hour races. That's a whole different thing.
Crazy.
Can't imagine.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, my last question, because I know everybody's got. Who's the coolest person you ever met? Like, like
Matthew Dooley.
Very Matthew Dooley. How about that?
I was about to say, thank you. Yeah, that's the right answer. Thank you.
Here's why he's the coolest. Because once I went, his parents invited us over, and we got on a boat, and I don't know why I did it, but I did. I got on one of those bouncy things that drags behind the boat, and his dad kept going faster and faster trying to dump me off, and it was like flipping over, but I was still holding on, and I thought it was great because he couldn't dump me. And then everybody kind of had a weird look on their face on the boat, and then I realized that my swim trunks had completely come off.
Oh my God.
I was
Well, that's
yeah, my little disabled legs. But Matthew was cool. Like, he didn't rub it in my face. He was like, "Hey man, you didn't fall off. That's what really matters." So.
oh my word.
Yeah.
I just got to play the game.
Hey, can I ask a favor? While everybody is still on, we've got can we get a group shot with everybody just going like a big, huge smile? Get your screen. Can we do that? James, what do you think? Can you take a shot?
You got to.
You got to count for us or something, man.
Come on.
Everybody ready? We got one iPhone that's off. And Britt, can you come on, buddy? If you can't, we get it. But man, I'm seeing a lot of teeth. We're getting ready here for a great shot.
No.
Okay. All right. James, you ready? We'll do it like 1, 2, 3. Everybody go nuts. And then we're going to come back to the conversation. You ready, James?
Yeah, he's doing it. Hold on.
I don't know. James, you ready?
Oh, sorry. I thought I didn't know I was muted. Let me see if I can get it to take one of Scott. For some reason, I haven't gotten one of Scott.
But can you get a group shot?
Yes. Let me see what I can do. Give me 1 second.
Because what I want to do, Scott, we go out. We have about 2,500 folks that support us, and I would love to take this group shot and send it out to everybody, and just celebrate tonight and make sure that everybody knows what's going on. So James, I was thinking just take a shot of the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Hang on. For some reason, I haven't gotten Mr. Aiden, Mr. Britt, Scott, Wasim, and Will. Let me figure out what's going on.
Okay, tell me when you're ready. We'll just continue.
Okay.
But it'd be great to get a shot. Yep.
So hey, Scott, it's Suzanne and Daniel.
Oh, hey, Suzanne and Daniel.
I don't think I've seen your hair this short in a long time.
Yeah, I went in for a small cut since I saw you last.
Yeah. I mean, when I went online, I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this?
It's summertime, Suzanne. You got to get your summer cut.
Okay. Yeah, I got that. Matthew has his. So as you idols are together, y'all have your summer cuts.
That's right.
Mom, it's about time I showed up.
Well, I didn't know if really we were invited, and then all of a sudden I thought, I think I'm going to eavesdrop on it.
Hey, Daniel, is that your summer cut?
Yeah, always.
Suzanne, you are always invited. You could join every day of the week if you wanted to.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
There you go.
I'm glad to know that. I thought it was just for the Titans.
No, ma'am. We will make room for everybody.
Thank
James,
you.
who's
Oh,
the farthest away person? Who is that on here? Distance.
which
it-
I believe we have Miss Athena and Mr. Nick. I believe you win. Athena, what city in New York are you in? And you're muted.
Brooklyn, New
You're in-
York.
Brooklyn.
I think
How
they
about
win.
that? Very
Mhm.
cool. Welcome.
All right,
Thank you.
I've figured it out. Let me do one picture here. Can everybody please be nice to me? I am.
You want a countdown?
Yes. All right.
Okay, on 3, I want big Titan smiles. That means seeing teeth, right?
Yes.
Everybody get as close as you can to the screen. If you can't, that's not a big deal. On
Oh,
3,
hold
ready?
on. Hold on. I need to put my lipstick on.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Three.
Oh,
One.
just show one.
Ready, James? 1, 2, 3.
Mm,
Oh, wait.
Hold it. Hold your
There we
smile.
go.
on it.
Hold it.
That's good enough.
Okay.
Okay.
That's for
Good
the next
enough.
newsletter, Scott.
All
Like
right.
you're not already famous, you're going to be more famous.
Stop it.
That is good enough.
Thank you.
It is
Scott.
not the only one we have, but I like that one.
Good.
Tell my parents who your favorite person is, Scott. They were not on when you told
Oh,
me.
Matthew. He
Oh my
doesn't
God.
have to repeat it. We heard him say it.
Okay.
Yeah, Matthew, we get the point.
We were listening, Matthew. We heard him say who his favorite person is.
We get it.
Yeah. So, Scott, I I'm personally just nerding out a little bit about your current project. That you're building an accessible campground.
Where's your accessible campground? That's cool.
It's up in Northeast Georgia, south of Chattanooga. It's outside of Rome, Georgia. If you know where that is.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I know where that is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you handle 100 Titans?
We could handle about 40 of them. Depends on how many folks we stuck in a tent. We'd have to get a few more tents, but
So where, like, is it built yet, or you're not sharing like details yet per se?
oh no, we're still kind of building it. I mean, we do like there's a tent, but no, we're still putting in infrastructure. Like today,
nice.
we were working on a well, and so everything's off grid out here, which is really a lot harder than I thought it would be. I was hoping it would be hard, and I've been, yeah, it is. And so we had to put in a road, which we've been working on for over a year, and then it's really good. And then the mountain had a mudslide, so we're getting close. But I think we've had some small groups out, but we just actually had a disabled hunt 2 weeks ago. A group found me and came out, and I was blown away. There was two guys in power chairs, and they had like all this adaptive stuff. And yeah, the one guy, like, he had a mount, like a shooting stick on the front of his power chair, and then I don't know, you can't really see my arms, so where is my, yeah, so he set down on the front of that the shotgun, and then for the back of the shotgun he had this adaptive, like, it was actually plastic, and it strapped onto the butt of the shotgun back here, and it just went over his shoulder, and then he tied a string around the trigger. I'm not making this up, and he would just pull the trigger with his mouth. It was pretty wild.
My
So that was a
God.
lot of fun. We enjoyed that group. We were hunting turkeys. We didn't get any, so it's not so much. The hunting is more just to get to spend some time in the woods, which is really what.
That's cool.
Yeah, James and I were speaking about it. He was a Boy Scout and an Eagle Scout, and I don't know how many people have kind of gone camping with family over the years or something, and
I've
challenge.
always gone glamping, and it wasn't really for me. But I always thought it would be cool to have the opportunity to have something like that more accessible. Because
Yeah.
when I went glamping, it was super inaccessible, and we stayed in a tent, and it was like super nice. But you had to like take a hike to like go to the bathroom, and it wasn't very easy to do that because it was gravel and it was not paved. So it would be way easier if it were more accessible.
Yeah, for most of the people here, Scott, I'm pretty sure the only accessible camping experience that they've had, if they've had one, was at Camp Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes. I've heard a lot about
Yeah.
that.
So.
And yeah, so we have a lot of what's called chert, which is it's like packed clay and sand, but I try to not have a lot of gravel because I find the gravel is really hard with the front casters if it's loose. So yeah, so we're working on some things. And yeah, I've been working on that out here. So we've got gardens in, and we do a lot of forest restoration, planting American chestnuts, which used to be the sort of the dominant tree here in the eastern part of the United States, but they all died from this Chinese blight. So it's fun, yeah. And
My
mostly,
mom had bacterial blight with her garden last year. That was no fun.
mm,
Over all your plants.
yeah, yeah, and then so let's see, James, you had said, asking if I had any advice for the athletes on the call. And yes, I do have some advice. And it is that I think the number one thing in sport and in life and in relationships is just to have gratitude for the opportunity and remember that there's so many people that don't so many of our friends and so regardless of if the event's going well or I'm participating well, like I'm just delighted to be there and try to stay in that state of mind. And I find that if I stay in a happy state of mind, regardless of what's happening on or off the field, better things happen. And I think on those days when it's raining or it's cold or there's transportation challenge. Yeah. So I think a positive attitude, which is something that we always control. Little can be difficult sometimes. Like I just came off a shoulder surgery and then I managed to burn myself after that.
How did you do that, Scott?
Matthew, that's kind of like I think I basically used one of those microwavable wraps that I was using on my shoulder and had a little swollen spot on my hip, and I don't know what came over me. I don't know. I guess that there's a wild pig or something coming because the dogs just went crazy. So I put it on a part of my body I couldn't feel, and I shouldn't have done it. And I had my hand down there, but the skin.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a serious.
Okay, good.
I know it's funny, isn't it, Matthew? Yeah.
It is funny.
It was pretty scary. It's no joke to get a burn.
Yeah.
Second and third degree. So
Especially in a place where you can't feel it,
Yeah.
Right, Allison.
So not a lot of sitting, and that was after 3 months after that shoulder surgery. I was using a power chair and not doing a whole lot. And then I had to do another 2 months at home. So I was ready to pull my hair out. Which I'm sure, you guys, everybody on this call knows how that can be. You don't get to do some of the things you want to do. but it's good. It's good for patience. It's good for grace and humility. And I think those are superpowers. So
How would you say that you stay positive during things like that? Because I know that there are more than a few people who have had similar incidents on this call and that they struggle with that a little bit.
I have tried it the other way and it's miserable. So I just always try to find something to smile about, because the minute you smile, even if you're not happy, you can fake it. The minute that you smile, when the muscles in your face go into that position and your throat relaxes and your jaw relaxes, it actually you'll feel better. It's a
Yeah.
biological fact. So usually I'm smiling because I've done something dumb, and that happens all the time, every day. Or I don't want to say dumb, but let's just say,
Ill
yeah,
advised.
yeah. Like I'm like, did I really just do that? And then I'm like, wow, okay. Um, and so I do like self-deprecation. I think it's kind of fun to make fun of ourselves a little bit. But how do when I'm in a place, like I'm a big fan. Like I'll go outside in the morning, I'll listen to the birds, I'll do anything I can do, even if I've only got one arm that's working. I'm gonna do some stretching or do some band work, and that's helped me a lot. I also take cold showers, believe it or not. And the reason for that is it'll increase your testosterone and your endorphin levels go up. And after you do it a little bit, you get over the whole cold thing.
Yeah.
And it just makes your skin tingle. And so those sort of things, it's like, what can you do that sort of wake us up, aliven the body, which then alivens the spirit. And that's tough sometimes when you're post surgery or stuck at home. But there's always something. There's always something to smile about.
Yeah.
Smiling around family can be the hardest of all things sometimes, because you want to strangle them. But I think
You didn't include parents in that, did you?
Oh
no,
no.
no.
Oh Lord, yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
But usually, but here's the thing, and maybe I shouldn't have said strangle, but those are the deepest relationships where we can be our most authentic selves. So sometimes a lot more emotion can come out, and that emotion can come out as sometimes as anger or frustration. And the flip side of that coin is deep love and gratitude.
Yeah.
So I see them as the same now. And yeah, even when things are going really poorly, like I got a flat tire last Monday in Marietta at like 5:30 in the morning. I was driving to work, and that was pretty scary. I was in the left lane with semis all around me. I got over, and the whole tire like came off. The
Oh
rubber
my goodness.
was smoking. So I'm over on the side of the road, and they said it'll be 2 hours before the road service comes. And so I tried to call my sister, and she's on the other side of town. And then I was like, and I'm lucky enough that um I have physically been able to change a tire before, but it was dark. This ditch, I was over kind of in the ditch a little bit.
I got
Yes.
called the dog.
It did take me 45 minutes, and but I did pull it off, but it was hilarious.
I got it called.
My chair rolled into the ditch.
I called the dog.
I missed that part.
I believe Bobby was showing us his dog.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, sometimes you just got to have some fun with it, and try. And even if it doesn't work out, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I answered that question. I mean, I'd kind of kick that back to anybody that wants to share how they, to the group. It's like, what are your secrets for staying in a positive mood or getting over feeling down? Anybody have anything?
I hate to put him on the spot, but Mr. Adam, do you want to speak up?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I guess. Well, I know that God made us. God made me this way for a reason.
So you found a lot of comfort and reassurance in your faith.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. I mean, let's face it. Okay, that my dogs want to be on this call. Go on, buddy. You know, it's a miracle upon miracle upon miracle that we're alive, that there's oxygen we can breathe. And so knowing that we're a part, an important part of this experience of life is just what always pulls me through, because basically everywhere I look, I'm just like, a miracle from God, like all of it.
Yeah.
The fact that lettuce grows out of the ground and we can eat it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, let alone that our parents got together long enough to make a baby and their parents, and then back and back and back and back and back. And that, you know, it's wild. We have eyes that see and ears that hear. It's unbelievable. Mind blowing.
God, why don't you tell me about your skydiving experience?
One more time.
Why don't you tell them about your skydiving experience?
Oh, skydiving.
Oh.
So that goes back to the 96 games. They wanted to have these disabled skydivers dive in and land in the stadium of the opening ceremonies. That sounds like a horrible idea, but they were pros. And so to promote that, they asked if they were looking around for an athlete to go and oh, I know which one you want me to tell, Matthew. I've skydived a couple of times. I'm gonna tell the clean one. But anyway, so I got to dive with these guys and do a midair hookup, and it was like because they were with the United States Army, we got to go like twice as high. That one went perfectly well, and it was like a really cool experience. I dove tandem, obviously. My legs don't work, so I was hooked to somebody. But another time, I was in Las Vegas, and it was a friend of mine's bachelor party, and he wanted to go skydiving. And there were 4 of us that use wheelchairs that were out there, and a couple of his non-disabled friends. And so we go out there, and you know, they put you in a jumpsuit, and then they took the wheelchair away, and then there was a delay. We're on the tarmac.
Can you get my tray? Or
So we were delayed and delayed and delayed, and because it's the desert and I was dehydrated, I had been drinking. You know, I was trying to stay hydrated, and I was like, "How much longer is this delay gonna be?" And then they're like, "Oh, no," and then they're like, "Okay, it's go time," and I had to pee really bad, and so I had put on an external catheter, which, and I had this leg bag, and so the skydiver guy comes up, and he was their adaptive person that worked with a lot of the tandem people with disabilities, and so he comes up and he starts patting me down. He's like, "We got any bags here? Any colostomy?"
How many skydives have you done and were you scared?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was the last time I did it. I won't do it again. But the long and the short was I was like, "No, I don't have any bags." And then we get on the plane and I'm strapped to him, and then when we got to the window to go, I was holding onto the rail, and he was like a 200-pound guy, but I was really strong back then. And he goes to jump, and so my lower half goes out, and he goes out, and I didn't let go. And then I let go. And so we're and I told him, I said, listen, I want to strap my legs up because my legs are all floppy. And he goes, no, I'll take care of it. I do this for a living. I got it. He was from Scotland. He has a Scottish accent. It was hard to hear him. And so when he rips the cord, the legs fly straight up. He didn't grab them. I kick myself in the face, got a black eye, and that leg bag that I had, which was now full of urine, came apart. And so we both got hit by this, blasted by what was urine. And now we're floating and it's beautiful. And, you're looking it out. And then he whispers in my ear, he goes, I thought you said you didn't have any bags. I was like, well, we'll talk about it later. And then we get to the bottom. It dried out really quick because it's the desert. And so we're going to land. And then he's like, oh, we got a problem with the wind. We got to change directions. I go, don't forget about my feet, because I was like strapped to his chest and I was taller than him anyway, because I'm a professional. Da, 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 da. And so we come in and he forgets to pull my feet up and he wouldn't let me put a strap on them. So my feet drag first and it's like an anchor and we hit it. Feet hit and we were going to come in and he would I would land on him and he would put his legs out and he slides in on his butt. It didn't go that way at all. We landed on our face with me on the bottom, dragging across the desert. That was the last time I'll ever go skydiving. Matthew, I'm going to leave it to you.
I can't go skydiving anymore, but I wish I could.
I have a new motto in life. I don't want to break anything else. So I'm going to leave those crazy experiences to the young folks.
More than one of my friends has said, why would you ever jump out of a perfectly functional airplane? So.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that one. I was doing it for the Paralympics and then for my buddy, sort of. I won't do it again. But it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. So I'm gonna check here. We covered that. Yeah. Well, let's open it up to a couple questions, James.
Sure. But first, I thought of one, so I'm gonna ask: do you think you would have been an Olympian if you hadn't had your accident?
No. And I think I would have definitely played sports and might have been all right, but what really motivated me was that I had the opportunity, then it was taken away. And then I realized how much I really enjoyed it. And then there was this struggle. It wasn't easy. Like we had to really, everything was harder, getting into the venues, like the swimming and with the high school. And so, but it, for me, sport is oftentimes, has been historically, it's a platform where we don't care if, what race or religion the person is, as long as they're on our team and we might win, we're like, let's just go with it. And so for me, I realized that like sport is this beautiful way for humans to interact with each other that doesn't involve war, that will let go of prejudice or misunderstanding. And in the case of disability in the 80s and early 90s, it was a really good way to change attitudes towards people with disabilities.
Okay.
So for me, that was a big motivating part of putting in those hours and, recovering from injury and doing the things you have to do to, and then, so I think that was a big part of it.
All right, I see 2 raised hands. I see Miss Paul, and then I'll get to Miss Natasha.
Okay.
How many swims have you done?
Do you do swimming like on a regular basis, or?
I'm currently not because I had that shoulder injury, but
Yeah.
I go through phases where I'll swim 3 or 4 days a week. And I swam a lot when I was triathloning. And then I swam in high school a little bit. It was always part of my routine, but for a lot of years in there, I wasn't getting to swim very often. But yeah, so
Okay. Miss Natasha.
Scott, I wanted to say it's nice to meet you, and I also want to say I've been in part of Special Olympics also almost for 10 years.
mm-hmm.
I I do basketball. Right now I'm doing track and field. I'm doing a 4 mile 4 lap walk for the summer games that's coming up at Emory. And I do basketball, and I'm doing a 10K Peachtree Roadways walk in
You're
July.
gonna be in the beach tree. That's
Uh-huh.
a long one. Wow.
It is a long one.
Well,
And I believe I
I'm in
believe sorry, go ahead, Natasha. I
case.
didn't know I was cutting you off.
Well, that's great, Natasha.
Thank
Which
you.
ones do you have a favorite or do you like them all?
I like bocce and basketball.
Okay. And
Have you done the peach tree before?
This is my second year doing it, and yes, I had done the Peachtree Road Race before with my Special Olympics group. I am part of Special Case.
Well, if I get out there, I'm gonna wait for you at Heartbreak Hill near the Shepherd Center and Piedmont Hospital, and I'm gonna spray you with ice water.
Oh
For
my
your
God.
own good. I mean, because it's hot.
Yes.
all right, and then I see our friends at Champions Place raise their hand. Which one of you has a question?
Yeah, have you ever played wheelchair soccer or wheelchair handball?
Yeah, actually, I think wheelchair handball and wheelchair football.
Yeah.
I actually haven't played soccer. I mean, I played it with a big ball in an everyday chair, but it wasn't like a competitive team. But man, I love handball and football. I think they're really fun sports. And I love that you can have power chairs and manual chairs and different ages and different sexes in there in the same game. I love it.
Did you go to a scrimmage down here?
Yeah, we have a scrimmage on Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah, we play wheelchair handball.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Let me see.
5 minutes from where we live.
Oh, is that right near the? Is it? Well, we may
Yeah,
have.
it's right down the street from from Champions Place. It's at the Mount Pisgah Christian School. It's in the gymnasium.
Scott, we do it every other Saturday, so
Yeah, twice a
no
month.
no race coming, but we'd love for you to come someday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just starting to push in my everyday, and so, but I might be able to borrow a court chair from Rafi. Do you guys smash into each other?
Not
Little bit.
not as much. We do a little bit, but it's more like bumper cars than rugby.
Well, we have chairs, Scott. We have
Oh, you
chairs.
do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we provide all the chairs.
With
Yeah.
wheelie bars? Okay.
And we gotta let's anybody that shows up plays. And so we have folks that get pushed, and we crank tunes. The reffing is terrible. We have no idea what we're doing.
Awful roughing.
It's awful. Yeah, but we have fun, don't we, gang?
I love it.
Yeah.
And the coach.
Well,
and bocce, is that what you said,
I have
Matt?
a question.
What's your question, Aiden?
I have a question.
Aiden was trying to say something. Yeah.
Let's do Aiden, and then we'll do Mr. Coy. Aiden, what is it?
I heard you mention wheelchair football. I tried doing that Not actually, but I thought about trying that a long time ago. How is that?
How is wheelchair football? He's thought about trying it, and he just wants to know how it went for you.
So I'm familiar with it through the school programs in Georgia, ASP. And so I would just be able to play when I was around some of those teams. So I don't know if there is an adult option out there with football. But I guess if you guys have a court and chairs, you could probably play it there. But I think it's I really enjoy the game. I think it's fun. And I think
That's the first time we all met. We meaning the North Fulton Mustangs, which there's probably about 4 or 5 on here. That we met Matthew Dooley when we played the Athens team. He was a heck of a wide receiver, I'll tell you. And when you're in a power chair, all you had to do it was hard to do, but the quarterback just had to hit the chair, and if it hit the chair, then it was as if they caught it. So Matthew scored a few touchdowns against us, but that's okay. We like him anyway.
Yeah.
I would like to do that one time. That sounds fun.
Okay. We'll try it sometime if we can. Mr. Corey, I thought I heard you.
This is Scott. I the ambassador at one time.
What is she saying?
Hang on.
The ambassador of March Dimes.
Back in the 90s.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah.
When
Mr. Adam, can you project for Mr. Corey? What did he say?
He said he was in the ambassador of the March Dimes back in the 90s.
Oh, and then
You're good.
and then Mr. Dooley, did you have a question?
Why do you look so good, Scott? You look great. Why do you look so good?
I eat a lot of vegetables, honestly, and I try to stay away from salty, sugary foods. Maybe especially at night. I don't eat ice cream at night because like you want to go to sleep and let your body recover and heal. So if you want to eat some of the sugary, salty, dairy stuff, do it like midday. But I think that anyway, that I think food and nutrition and rest is a big part of keeping your body moving and
I want to be respectful of Mr. Scott's time, but we can maybe do a few more if he has time. Miss Allison, what do you have? You're muted, by the way.
So my question was, you have been part of the community in since the 80s and 90s, and you mentioned you were able to see the world through the Olympics, the Paralympics. What progress do you think there has been in accessibility as far as travel goes?
Yeah, good question. And I will say with that, seeing the world, I did a advocacy work and volunteer work for the International Paralympic Committee and with some of the host organizing cities. And I feel like depends where you're going, right? In general, airports, hotels, in your newer cities, everything's pretty good. Even and there are these travel blogs now for us with disabilities where they'll tell you, like, okay, you can go here, but don't go there, which is great. But if you're going to go to, say, Rome in Italy, God bless you, because there's just stairs. It's 1,000 years old and there's stairs.
It's just old, yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes those older areas, you just can't get to all of it. And I'm okay with that now when I travel with family and stuff. I'm like, yeah, all right, just
Yeah.
get me close to something. I love watching people. So I think that's a big part of the travel. But there's still some things that are tough out there. As you know. But it's night and day from what was going on 30, 40 years ago. And I think it continues to get better. Like things are not perfect, they're not as they could be, but we're blessed to have more housing opportunities, places like um Champion Center, like
Champions Place.
Yeah, place. I'm sorry. uh it's improving, and that but we do have to still work on some things, and so yeah.
I just figured I'd ask because I went to Barcelona about 5 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I found Barcelona I would go back there in a heartbeat.
All I remember are the hills. There are so many hills.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Did anyone else have a question for Mr. Scott? I do see your hand raised, Natasha, but you've gotten a chance to ask him a question.
It's for Coach Rick, actually.
Okay.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute. Did anyone else have a question for Mr. Scott? Because I'm mindful of the time, and I am mindful of the sun setting behind him. I just
the Coyotes will be here soon, so
Oh wait.
Hey, Scott, I just you have broken a record for attendance at Champions Community Connect. Let's all give a round of applause for Scott, huh?
Hi.
Or whatever you can do. Thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you for like I said when we talked about this, Daniel and Suzanne Doodley and Matthew had just spoken so highly of the program and the Champions Place, and I was really enjoyed coming out and being there. So thanks for the invitation to see this great group, and I'm super impressed. Like I honestly thought I figured it was going to be James and Matthew Dooley and maybe Rick. So this is a real honor. So thank you all.
We normally get like maybe 10, 12 people. So this is pretty good.
Become a family almost, James.
Yes.
How many people are in the group?
In the Titans, there's like probably 75, 76.
Wow.
And probably 100 total. But
and there's a scrimmage. There's a scrimmage on Saturday. And if you have not gotten tickets to the baseball game, we're all going to a baseball game on Sunday. Scott, there's so much to do,
Yeah. Which game are you going to?
We like the Gwinnett Stripers because it's accessible. You can park and go right in the stadium,
Yeah. Is that a minor league team?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Kool Field down in Gwinnett.
It's more like Lawrenceville.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. You probably many blessings to you all. Keep smiling. Keep finding, give it up to God and go with the flow. That's it.
And Mr. Scott, there's no reason you can't participate in any of our other events. Same bat time, same bat channel mostly. Tomorrow we do it at 7, but we do it from 7 until 9. But almost every other day it's 7:30 to 8:30.
Oh wow! So how many times a week are you? Twice a week?
6 days a week. 6 days a week.
Seriously?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay, well, I don't know if I can make 6 days a week.
No, sir. But if you're ever bored,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
happy to have you.
All right. Well,
Thank you
yeah,
Scott, so much.
I love it. Well, thank you. And
Thank
I
you.
Thank you so
All the
much.
best, Scott. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
James. Well done.
And everyone, we will I'll post we'll make sure the recording is available if anyone missed it. Thank you so much. And to our Innovation Academy people who are on here, even though you've been really quiet, I see you. Thank you for coming. I'm surprised you didn't have any questions. But thank you so much for coming.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks,
Bye.
Scott.
Thank you, Scott.